And without further ado, let's get this game started. Spawning down here in the bottom right position of the map. Give it up for Dragon Phoenix Gaming's ZEST. And his opponent up here in the top of the map. Give it up for the Shopify Rebellion's BYUN. And of course, we are on the new maps of the Team Liquid map contest number 15, Curious Minds, which already off the bat looks like a very good sort of macro map for both of these sides, as we do have three relatively close together bases. I could guess you could say that the ramp makes it a little bit harder to defend the low ground there, but it's going to come down to when the fifth base is going to be taken. I think that's going to be the biggest point of contention on such a large map such as this. Now, you gotta see how long it takes to get over there as ZEST sends the first probe just to do a little bit of scouting, a little bit of poking, just to try and make sure that BYUN isn't doing anything too crazy, which right now he certainly is not. He is just going to skip the Reaper though, which I'm kind of questioning on this map, as because it's so large, it's going to be a little bit difficult to kind of get that mid-game information about your opponent's transition. Now, ZEST is already doing a pretty good job. He's found the Reaper wall, so he is going to just block him out. And yeah, from here, I don't really see these two being too aggressive, especially not in game number one, especially not on these newer maps where we haven't really been able to kind of get a full glance at what is possible. Now, taking a look at everything here, the Adept is going to be the first choice of ZEST, which kind of tells me that we might be seeing him go directly into, say, Stargate or Twilight Council, which, there we go, the Twilight Council does go down. But we do see BYUN going for a bit more aggressive strategy here, as he's going for the 3 racks. Now, Twilight Council is a pretty good counter to this. Blink Stalkers are pretty good, pretty powerful versus no siege tanks, no splash damage. So as long as ZEST can kind of get in here, get a little bit of information, and see what's up, he should be feeling pretty good about his choice of tech. And now behind this as well, we do see a couple of additional gateways being warped in. Let's keep an eye out for how many, as we don't see the robo facility. I don't think this is going to be an aggressive blink timing at all. Dep gonna come in, just trying to force these Marines to stay at home. You definitely don't want him moving across the map. And BYUN is doing a very good job of kind of hiding the numbers here. He's only got 5 of them in the front, while keeping the rest at home in the main base, just to make sure that ZEST doesn't really know what's going on. He's got his 3rd base down. He's got the robo facility. And he started warping in a sentry just so he can get some of those hallucinations in. To get that information, but this is still a scary point for him, because he still doesn't know what BYUN's choice of attack is, and he doesn't know that it's going to be coming relatively soon. Once that stim is a lot closer, that's when BYUN needs to strike, and I think he recognizes that the couple of Marauders is going to be the catalyst for the attack. And let's see if ZEST will have enough. He's currently up in terms of that worker count, but is down almost 10 army supply right now. Honestly, it looks like he's gearing up for a drop, sending these units into the main base here. So let's see if they're going to be in position. I think force fields are going to be super important right here. Oh my goodness. This is terrifying for him, but here we go. He does see this. The Stalkers do have a blink, so they are going to be able to get in here, but he snipes the sentry before he can get anything done with it. The Adept going to try and force it out in the back, but it's not going to get too much here. The Marauders just absolutely shelling away here as 10, 11 probes have gone down. This is absolutely fantastic amounts of damage for BYUN. And he's got to be feeling pretty good about his chances now. One Zealot, not going to be enough to chase down this Marauder as more and more probes go down. 15 in total. And I think that after that one, BYUN kind of smells that blood in the water as we see the second stage of this attack already coming on out. This time, though, ZEST does have an Immortal, which should be able to soak up some of that damage, but oh my goodness. He's trying to get the Observers out. He's trying to keep some map information with those, and that might end up killing him here. As here we go. BYUN is on the warpath here. The Sentry kept a little bit further back because he knows he'll need that force field. A couple of the Stalkers, though, will go out. The last of the force field energy is used. Immortal has perished, but another big warp-in should be enough to clean this up. But it's going to be a very Pyrrhic victory for ZEST. Yeah, losing so many units right there. Kind of taking a look at this. 1,000 supply difference. And even though that might look like a lot of Marines, honestly, they are quite expendable. Now, the big thing to note here for BYUN is this entire time, he's been focusing on unit production. He doesn't have his third base complete yet, which means that he's kind of forced in this situation where he has to remain aggressive. Otherwise, ZEST is going to be able to recover. He's going to be able to steamroll him, and he's just really not going to have a good time in that situation. A little bit of a scan. Unfortunately, the Observer revealed itself. This one just barely out of range. Oh my goodness. But here we go. BYUN gonna try and get in again. Guardian Shield will mitigate some of that damage. The Stalkers taking a couple of hits here, but will be able to blink away. And it's kind of just gonna come down to the micro of ZEST. As long as he's able to kind of keep BYUN away from these choke points where he can't really engage with all his units, he should be fine. As in, he wants that concave, he wants the wide open areas so that it's a little bit easier to kind of micro around, blink around, and get those pickoffs here. But BYUN still up almost double the army supply right now. Is gonna be looking for these Stalkers, and he will be able to find them. Just needs to get a couple of pickoffs here. The Widowmine does go down, which is nice as there's not too many of them available. But my big question is, does he have charge? You know, he doesn't. He doesn't have any Zealots either, and I feel like that would be a good addition to this army. The force field's gonna do a good job of kind of singling out a lot of this. But the concave is just a little bit too powerful here for ZEST. Big Widowmine connection right there. Going to take out another one of these Stalkers. But BYUN is starting to bleed through his health here. Got to be careful not to engage too far forward or you're going to run into a minefield. But overall, ZEST does hold. And it was a fantastic hold for sure. If he can do that 2 or 3 more times, I don't think BYUN's going to be able to break him anytime soon. The biggest problem for ZEST is, even though he is down in supply, a lot of that is not in splash damage. He is kind of relying very heavily on his gateway force with just a couple of Immortals in support. Charge, again, just really, really late because he is trying to just build enough to defend and hold on. But now he's going to have a little bit of room to breathe. He's got Storm started up. He's got that +2 attack upgrade coming on in. So let's see if that's really going to be enough for him, as BYUN does have Ghosts and EMPs lined up behind this. Force fields once again keeping this army away, but now it is being brought to bear. Widowmine does connect on a lot of these units. And ZEST is having a little bit of trouble here. He does retreat back to the shield batteries, but those are going to run out of energy. He needs to overcharge that, but BYUN doesn't need to engage into it anymore. On the other side of things, we do have a small Zealot run by. Just looking to get a little bit of counter damage. It doesn't really find any of it. And now with that shield battery overcharge, out of juice, out of energy, ZEST is out of time. As even with storms, these Marauders are going to be pretty good at just kind of keeping that away. GG is called. In the top position of the map, give it up for BYUN. And his opponent down here in the bottom, he is ZEST. And as we did see BYUN, I believe he might have been caught heading out on the map here. And yeah, kind of just talking about it while we get this kind of thing underway. The SCV kind of just hanging out over here. Probably going to drop a factory to kind of play around. Once again, this looks like a much larger map, just in terms of that rush distance being very, very far away. But it looks like you do have a lot of options for kind of staying back into more defensive late game bases. Again, I think it's going to come down to the more aggressive player will be a little bit better off, because in terms of counterattacks, in terms of trying to get to your opponent's side of the map, I think this it might just take a little bit longer, buying yourself some time. That's just kind of the way I think about it right now, as BYUN did drop that engineering bay, and is just going to try and slow things down. I guess it was a bit of a fake out, thinking that he was going to proxy. Instead, he will just go into a very straightforward build. One thing to note, however, is we do have this little hidden SCV that could drop the starport if he so desires. If he does decide to do that, then the way I'm thinking about it, it might just be a big old Hellion drop. But never mind, as the SCV does decide to go on home. So really kind of just showing that he's willing to look for proxies, I guess. Yeah, just kind of interesting overall. I think BYUN is a player who does enjoy proxying every now and again, but really his strategy is kind of just to play it out solidly, get to that mid game, get to about 2 to 3 bases worth of economy, and then just try and kill his opponent with just constant aggression from there. So it looks like nothing's really going to be changing on that side, as we do have the CC on the high ground, just playing it extremely safe, as ZEST is going to get that Twilight Council once again, going straight into Blink, which is just a fantastic choice overall. It's safe versus the 3 racks, it's safe versus the standard 1-1-1, and it's relatively safe versus the Hellions coming across the map. So kind of just rotating around, seeing what is up. Sees the wall, sees the pylon, so that just tells him that ZEST will have some information. Behind it, we do have the small little Widow Mine drop. 4 mines should be enough to ruin any Protoss's day. Stalkers as well, just warping in for that defense. There's not that many gateways, so there's not that many opportunities to attack. Nothing really too much else to say. Kind of just a beautiful map overall. I really like this tile set. it just looks so crisp, so clean, so natural. And, you know, I don't think we get too many of these maps, you know? We did have the beaches map from a while ago. We did have, like I said, the really old map of Oasis. But I don't think too many other maps really utilize this. And I know I'm gonna get ripped in the comment section for saying that, but here we go. As the Widowmine, 2 of them do get down, but yeah, they're not really gonna get too much as one of them tries to reposition. Good refiring. They're just trying to keep it alive, but at the end of the day, does get wasted. So pretty good pick off there from ZEST. Gonna keep himself alive as he does decide to go for Robo Bay. It's going to be Colossus time. So behind that drop, BYUN is just being a little bit more defensive. He still has his 2 bases kind of just building up from here. ZEST drops his own 3rd, so a good timing on that. He's going to look to do a little bit of damage, but there are siege tanks in position. And these Marines are actually doing a really good job at just keeping themselves around. Here we go. He blinks right on in. Gets the supply depot for free. And this is actually a lot of ground to cover here. I'm not sure if 2 tanks is going to be enough. 3 tanks, though? Yeah, that's fine. Siege tank getting a really nice little volley off, just keeping himself relatively safe. These stalkers not really going to be looking for any big pickoffs. They're just trying to keep BYUN contained within his bases, which, I mean, to be honest, they're doing a pretty good job of. BYUN's stuck here on 2 bases as he does drop his 3rd CC in the main base. Or not. Looks like he accidentally canceled that. Siege tanks are actually blocking the ramp as well, so he kind of recognizes his mistake. Just a small thing, but every second does count in these kind of situations here. Small drop going to be coming out. So I think at this point, it's going to be a little bit tricky to kind of get damage done as the ZEST is set up on his 3rd base, set up to kind of deflect these drops. But let us see. A scan going to go down, gets rid of the observer. Beautiful. As even a 4th base going to go down here. The Stalker is going to try and slow this down as much as humanly possible. But the drop is already in position. Gets the quick cancel. And there's not really much here to buffer for these Colossi. Quite exposed here, but BYUN just not going to engage. He wants to fight with his entire army. Actually, we'll get a couple of nice Stalker pickoffs here. Very, very nice. A pickup on the Marauder. Going to keep that alive as well. And here we go. Big siege tank fire. Going to crush through some of these units. And I mean, ZEST is still looking relatively scary. Let's see if he still has enough to kind of push this back. Those siege tanks, all they have to do is siege on up, and they are going to be able to blast through this army. But it's going to come down to where he decides to. This is a big choke point with a couple of different avenues of attack. So ZEST has the potential to surround this and get on top of those siege tanks. The Colossi wailing away on this army does get a pick off here and there. But ZEST is also sending a pretty large attack all the way over to this side of the map. And 9 workers going down. A fantastic start for him there. If he can keep getting small little trades like that, he's going to be feeling pretty good about himself, because then he can just whittle down this army. But here we go. The Zealot's going to be coming in from the back. The rest of the bio going back to defend, and that is going to leave these tanks very exposed. A little bit of focus fire trying to get what he can, but the Disruptor shot enough to finish this out. And BYUN gets absolutely crushed here. GG is called. All right. So obviously the biggest comparison to the current map pool is it looks very similar to I'm blanking on my names here, but overall you do have this kind of base over here. It's a little bit easier to take because you do just have small mineral outputs, so it's not really as difficult as the rocks on the current. I'm sorry, I'm definitely forgetting what map it's called. Blackburn Industries, that's it. Or yeah, Blackburn is what it is. So yeah, you got that little position right there. Obviously you do have the safer choices of third base with the 3 and 9 o'clock position, so that could be a little bit easier to take. It can be a little bit annoying as the game goes on, though, as you do have these small bits of harassment that can kind of come around and get a little bit of damage in that way. There's just a lot of different angles that you can send a Zealot run by, or a drop or two. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that if we get that far. But so far, nothing really too interesting. Both these guys kind of just doing the same thing. I should expect that Twilight Council, which I did get. And now both these guys kind of just powering up, getting ready for the next phase. I don't really see either of them being too aggressive, especially since BYUN is going to be going for the 3cc opening into 3 racks. So he is going to be mixing it up a little bit. Let's see how ZEST reacts to this. Already going to get a little bit of information here. The wall does go down. He did see that the Reaper was not out, so that tells him just a little bit more information that BYUN wanted to get a couple of additional Marines. Yep, really not going to be able to get in here, but that's okay. And it looks like BYUN actually only going for 2 racks here, so he's just gonna be going back to his roots. This is one of his most popular strategies, the 2-1-1. We'll have to see when he does decide to throw down that factory. But again, this is a very aggressive move here from BYUN. Once he gets 2 medevacs full of Marines, he will just kind of go across the map and just try and wear you down with full-on aggression. There you go, even about to drop the barracks, but gets the factory instead. Now, this is a little bit different than a normal 2-1-1. Because of how late that factory is, there is going to be more upgrades available to him, as we do see that +1 and the stim pack very halfway from completing. And again, he's just doing a really good job of kind of hiding the amount of units here. But as time goes on, ZEST is just going to have that natural counter. He's going to have the Immortals. He's going to have the Robo Bay relatively soon. And he's going to have just enough gateways to kind of stop BYUN from being able to do too much. Well, the Phoenix going to make its way in. It does see pretty much everything. I'm not 100% certain if it did see the army or not, but we do see these first couple of stalkers. Just going to look to get a little bit of picking off. Templar Archives as well behind it. So he is going to be sticking with this kind of Gateway Archon army. Plus Storm, of course. Now even getting the Forge for those upgrades. He is just going to be 1 down, as we do have +1 attack finishing up. So, I mean, overall, BYUN is just trying to make this a much more powerful attack with how long he's deciding to wait. But here we go. The Stalker's already going to get a good little bit of damage in, just slowing down these Marines, forcing them to stim when there is no medevac support. All this is really to do is to take this third base, which he does quite handily, and ZEST has his own and is getting a huge gateway explosion. 6 in total. So overall, alright, it looks like BYUN gonna be going for a big drop. And keep in mind, there aren't that really many deceleration zones. You only have this one right here. So these guys are going to be speeding along to the other side of the base, as BYUN is going to be attacking from the front as well. Stalker's not really able to see this, but he does see it at the very last second. We'll be able to actually get into a really nice position right here. That pylon might be able to go down. Storm, not yet complete, but he does depower 5 of these gateways. And now Storm is finished, but 19 workers have already gone down. And before he can even get a Storm off, oh my goodness, he loses all those high energy Templar. Last one not going to be able to do too much, as the third base is gutted as well. So BYUN, with a fantastic move right there, halves the workers supply, halves the army supply, and crushes through here. As ZEST, kind of realizing the position that he's in, will go for a pretty big counterattack, but the reinforcements are already ready to go here for BYUN. One Stalker will go down. He saves the healthy one, though. Still no Storm energy. He's got 1 available to him, but he's going to have to go up that ramp to get the vision to go far enough. A good spread at the top as well. 1 good Storm. Gonna force BYUN off this position, but now he's really starting to run low on that energy. Scan gonna go down, revealing the Observer, but he can't snipe it right now. Archon will take a Widowmine shot, so that's gonna be a little bit weak here, but now BYUN is forced off of this position. I mean, this is still really scary for ZEST. He knows that he needs to stay over here because he is not making any probes. He is not making literally anything but fighting units. He is all in at this point. EMP gonna go down, destroying the shields of that Immortal. And I think that is gonna be it. There you have it. GG. BYUN takes the group stage match.